Hey, what's up? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Jim Carrey shout out. This video that you're about to go through is a training that we did in our office yesterday. And this is specifically for buyers that are in very hot and competitive markets with very, very low inventory. A couple of our agents, they've got some offers accepted. A couple of our agents are having challenges getting their buyers to understand that by missing out on a property for a few $1,000s when all signs are showing that the market is going to go up, at least here locally in our market, is chasing the market up. And as agents, it's our job to give them the best advice. We can't convince them to buy, but if you've got a client that's like, I want to buy, I want to stop wasting money on rent, I want to start getting equity in my house, I want to get some tax breaks, I want to provide some stability in my life, I want to do all these things, but I'm scared to make the jump from renting or buying, and I'm just cautiously advising. This video is going to break down how to get trust from them, how to point them in the right direction, how to show them data versus tell them data, how to build that trust with them, and most importantly, how to help them understand that at least over the next 90 days, we're in March, so obviously everything can change, and this video was made on the 16th of March, so it may not be applicable in a few months, but based on our market, where you've got lower inventory than we've seen in almost a decade. You've got higher demand than we have in supply. You have interest rates that are starting to come down because of the bank situations. You've got appreciation already happening. You've got demand gobbling up the supply as it comes out. We had 900 pendings last month. We had 800 and something pendings last month in condos. We had 792 new properties come to the market, right? So when you have these types of situations and you have somebody just scared, you have to create trust with them. You have to show them the data. You have to create pain, and you have to educate them about what's going to happen in the next 30, 60, 90 days based on the data. This video is all about that. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and we're going to walk this through with an agent that's currently struggling with this situation. Hope this helps. If you need anything, let us know. Subscribe to this channel. We're delivering some really incredible content based on the feedback we're getting. We are helping people educate their clients and ultimately provide an amazing experience. This video is for agents, team leaders, etc. It's not really a home buyer video. It's all about agency and how to help your clients win in this market. I'm Josh Pono. Be well. Smash that subscribe button. Thank you so much. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Pretty excited about what's going on. And it's pretty interesting in the market about the banks failing and whatnot. I was on the line with Ryan Finch this morning, who's the founder of First Class, and we were talking about this stuff. And so what have you guys been hearing? What have you guys been reading about? And what do you people think that is going on and how it relates to the housing market? Because the buyers and the sellers, they're going to have questions, right? How does this information impact? And not that we're economists, but we can point to historical trends. We can point to what happens moving forward. But there's some indications of what's about to happen, especially here hyper locally in San Diego.
So kind of what I'm hearing is there's a potential of rates coming down because of this. But right now, just real estate market wise, if we're in a kind of a little Goldilocks period where the demand's not as high as it was. So when rates come down, there's a lot of pent up demand that's going to come out, and it's going to be gangbusters again, like it was 2021. That's what I heard from somebody, but I don't know if that's 100% accurate.
It's that doesn't seem too far off, right? Like, we know what happens when rates go down, and it's been interesting. How many people have made offers on properties in the last, say, 2 weeks? Who's made offers?
I made a few offers, yeah.
And what was so what was your experience on offers? Did you have any of those properties that you made offers on that had zero competition?
Nope.
And how many offers did they have?
Let's see. The one I just wrote this weekend had like 3 other offers, so total 4. We got it though, so that's cool.
You opened escrow?
Yes, sir. We got an escrow today.
I did too.
Yeah. So you got
Yeah, Nathan got
Yeah.
one too. Let's go, boys.
That's what I like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man.
But yeah,
Appreciate it, guys.
before that, same thing, like 3 or 4 offers at least. Pretty competitive offers too, not like, just whatever offers. Like,
When are those closing? April?
Nah. Well,
What?
yeah, actually. I wrote mine April 3rd or sooner.
Very cool. So what I've been seeing too, Josh, you been making any offers lately?
Josh, you make any offers lately?
De Silva.
Yeah, sorry, I was trying to unmute. Not in California, but in Virginia, and the market's actually pretty crazy over there, like in Norfolk, just as well. Several offers coming in.
Yeah. So we've got the bank failures, which are, there's going to be some repercussions, and what the underlying thoughts, and I was talking to Finch about this, is what the underlying thoughts are is that they're going to have to slow down. Part of the reason why these banks have failed is because they rose interest rates so fast with the feds. Because the bonds were built on getting returns at low rates. When those rates go up, the returns go down. When the returns go down and people want their money, they can't pay for the returns. So when you raise rates like that and you crush a bank, what do? You got to bring rates down. They don't want to bring rates down because you need to bring rates down in order to curb inflation. So what we most likely are going to see, according to Finch and according to a bunch of other smart people like Barry Habib and some of these mastermind groups that we're in, is we're going to see them either slow, stop, or reverse rate hikes in order to stabilize the banking system. Now, if they start doing some monetary easing, giving people money, what's going to happen? Inflation goes up. What happens during inflationary markets with housing? It goes up. There is a very, very limited inventory. The buyers that want to buy as interest rates come down, right? So, this is one of those areas where it was funny. I was sitting in the hockey locker room last night and real estate came up, and I literally looked at one of the guys was like, yeah, I've been seeing some price reduction. I said, dude, the market's about to go up. And he goes, get out of here. And I looked at the buyer who I'm working with in the room. I said, Bridget, how accurate have I been for the last 7 months calling step by step this market and even calling it 4 months in advance? And she's like, he's been perfectly accurate. If you think about it, my messages in August, September, October was wait, September, October, November, December, by December, January, February, spring market's going to take off. Now, granted, there's a little bit of luck in that too, right? Because the interest rates jumped and it didn't curb demand. But think about it. Spring gets busy every year. Demand goes up. People got to move. The savvy buyers, the people that have bought, like if you talk to a parent right now, let's say you're a first-time home buyer and you're like, oh, but the interest rates are 6%. Mom and dad are like, our first home was 6%. Our second home was 7%. We had a home in 1989 that was 14%. Buy the home. Here, we'll give you some cash. We'll help you out. The savvy buyers that are coming here that have been spending a ton of money on rents in LA and San Francisco and all that stuff, a $6,000 mortgage doesn't scare them. There's no inventory. Now, condos aren't facing as much, but you guys are experiencing, like single family detached home in that 900 to 1.1, man, there's 5, 7, 8, 9 offers.
Yeah, condos are competitive too. I have a condo client and yeah, it's tough. She's FHA, wants the in unit laundry too. So I mean, there's not a lot of those, so anything like that hits the market's getting just totally brutal.
Now, we are going to have buyers that are hesitant. We are going to have buyers that are hesitant to move forward. Does anybody have buyers that are hesitant to move forward right now or are on the fence?
Lots. All of them.
All right. So have you shown these buyers homes, or are they hesitant not to even look at the process?
For me, two of my clients here in San Diego, I've shown them several homes. One of them I've actually written a couple of contracts for. We've been doing this for a couple months now. And their hesitance is just, you know, how much the mortgage is going to be more than their rent they're paying already right now.
And so it doesn't, like, when I mean on the fence, I mean like they so they're actively showing, and it sounds like what the real problem is that they're struggling to get over, like they're probably paying what, 2,500, $3,000 a month, and their mortgage is gonna be like 5 or something.
They're paying like 24 and their mortgage is, yeah, looking like 42, something like that.
All right. And have you sat down with them and broken down, or had them talk to the accountant and gone through the tax benefit scenario?
I have. We have done a lot of, we've done everything that we can think of.
And why do they want to buy? Let's talk about that one specifically.
For equity and, you know, to stop giving away their money to rent, essentially.
All right. And so when you were making offers, what was the challenge on why it didn't get accepted?
Too many other people were writing way over and they weren't comfortable doing so.
And they weren't comfortable doing so, writing over. And how much did the home sell for, and how much did they miss out by?
It sold for 403 and they missed out by, it was listed at 385
What'd they write their offer for?
for 386. That was it.
All right, so they missed out for 23,000.
Yeah.
How much at their interest rate in additional payment was that?
It was going to be, give me a second. I think it was going to be an additional like $800, $900.
No, can't be. They bought it for 405 and their offer was 385.
Yeah.
At most, that difference in payments like $110, $120.
Okay.
Because every $10,000, and you got to check with them, but like every 10,000, like when the interest rates were like 3%, it was like $45 for every $10,000 finance. So now it's probably like 60 now. So at most that payment was like 120. And so what the conversation right there, when was the last time you had a market talk with them?
Last Friday.
Last Friday. And can you outline, like, can you give me like in sequential order a bullet point of that outline and how it ended?
Yeah. So every Friday I have a lender that gives me the market update with newer interest rates.
Yeah.
So, you know, hopped on a FaceTime call with both of them, went over, you know, how those rates actually had dropped a little bit, not a lot, but
Yep.
How those dropped and how, hey, like you guys can continue to shop and actually save some money compared to, you know, the last couple of weeks. And the unfortunate thing for both of them is that they're still like fighting back with me about, well, you know, maybe later on the interest rates are going to drop more. And so I actually brought up another bullet point that, well, hey, 6 months from now you can refinance. It is a VA loan. And so we talked about the options of them being able to refinance. And so the call pretty much ended with, you know, we're still going to think about it and talk about it. And, you know, I actually even I had the lender send them over an example of, hey, here's what your payments are looking like with this new, you know, rate drop for this budget you're looking for. So
all right,
at the end of the day, they're still, you know, fighting back on that.
Yeah. So right now, and I'm assuming I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. Have you told them that the market's likely to jump?
I did. I told them, I said, look,
all right,
house prices.
So what you have going on is you have a client that you're giving them information, but it's not hitting them home, and they're not taking action. Correct?
Exactly.
So when I get to a client like that, and everybody, and by the way, like there is no agent that's ever not gotten into this position. And what I find is that when that happens, I have to go back and I have to realize that what I've done up into this point hasn't been enough to get them to move forward. So if I had that client, this is what I would do, Josh. If I had that client, and I've had that client, I friggin' had that client. And in fact, the last deal that I just closed last Friday, like 5 days ago. No, 10 days ago. the Friday before last Friday. They called me up in like January, February, and they were like, you know, we're thinking about buying, but, you know, we're thinking about waiting because, you know, Goldman Sachs said it's going to drop 15%. And I said, you know, that's interesting. I read that article. I didn't see any information that actually showed it. What I did is I went back to the data, and I went to InfoSparks, and I pulled their preferred areas, and I showed them that we had dropped 15% since April. And what I would do with this client is say, as I would call them and I'd say, hey, I just got out of a mastermind meeting. Today's Wednesday. I would say, I'm really excited about this week's update. I wanted to get that in the books for you now. Okay. And when you get there, I say, hey guys, you know, there's been some interesting things changing. You know, we've talked about you guys waiting. We've talked about you guys finding the right house. You know, we missed out on the other number. I would call the lender and say, hey, just to confirm, if somebody is financing 20%, how much of that is the monthly payment? He might say, oh, it's $118 or something. Get the number, right? And when you talk to them, you say, you know, they say, well, interest rates might go down. And what you gave them is the line of, great, well, then you can refinance, right?
Right.
But the question is, so hey, we talked about this. So let me show you something. Let me show you where inventory is at. Right. And like, so for example, Eric, you met Eric Adelano. Eric was like, dude, there's 20 applications for every home that sells right now. On the mortgage side, not 20 offers, but 20. There's a backed up buyer demand. Hey, you guys right now are waiting for interest rates to drop. Do you think you're the only buyer that's doing that?
Nope, they definitely, and I actually brought that up to them as well. I said, look, you and everybody and their grandma is looking at these interest rates to drop. So you're not going to do yourself any justice by waiting.
So so when you said that, but they're still not moving forward, right? So,
No.
So stick with me for a second, because what you're talking about, what you're doing, Josh, is you're scratching the surface, you're scratching them in the skin, and you're expecting them to be like, oh my God, that hurts. I never want that to happen again. What you have to do with people like this is you have to put the knife in their side, and they're like, oh my God, this hurts. And then you twist. And you go, does that hurt now? And then you twist again, and you twist again. And so when I have somebody that's stubborn, I don't tell them my opinion. I don't tell them what's going to happen, because you don't have trust with them right now. Not complete trust. If you did, they would be buying.
Exactly.
So you telling them or you explaining that to them is not going to be as powerful as them coming to their own conclusion. So what you do is you go back to 2021 and 2022, where interest rates were going up, and you say, hey, listen, this is the data from here. Do you know why this happened? Well, inventory was low. Great. Inventory was low, and there were more buyers than that. You see where these prices shot up? It was a massive jump because demand was outpacing supply. So right now, you guys missed out on this last home, by the way. And that one's now 406. And the new ones that are coming out, I'm sure you can go show them that the new ones coming out are higher priced. So
I've been doing that with them.
But you're not doing it all together, piecing it together.
Right. Okay.
You have to, again, you like, from what I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a conversation, you scratch them, doesn't work. Next time you have a conversation, another opponent, you scratch them, doesn't work. You have to stick it in, you have to turn it, you have to turn it, you have to turn it, and you have to combine everything together. Because what I would do is I would say, great, we've had this conversation numerous times, so I want to break this down, because I'm really concerned that you guys are about to lose big time. And then let me ask you this. What happens if prices jump 7, 8, 9, 10%, and you never can buy a home this year and you get priced out? What happens?
Then they're stuck.
You're stuck. You're stuck. Okay, so you're stuck. You can't actually move. Now, let me ask you this. What if you're stuck and rents and stuff, they go up, or even if you pay the same amount and you spend another $30,000? And what happens if instead of you buying today instead of you buying soon and getting 80, 70, 80, 90,000 of equity, what happens if you don't get that?
Then you're out of that money. That's extra money.
And you have another 30,000. And by the way, you just the property that you passed on, we could have won it for 406, which would have been $120 a month more. than what you offered. $120 a month more. By the way, that house is now worth $415. So you traded $120 a month, which is $1,000 a year, for $12,000 in equity. And by the way, you also threw away $5,000 since then. So you threw away $5,000. You didn't get $15,000, and you did it all to save $120 because you didn't think it was worth it. So what am I missing? Because you guys are really smart people. What am I missing?
That's a much better way to redirect that conversation.
Look, I know you're a really good agent, and I know you've got the pieces, but you got to piece them to, like, when you have this scenario, and I've been there, right? And it always leads back to the same thing: is we do that. We tend to do this. Hey, here's the information. Here's the truth. Do you believe me? Well, yeah, kinda, but I'm not going to move forward. So, well, hey, I just want to I want to let you know prices went up a little bit. Yeah, well, they could still come down. Hey, I want you to let you know interest rates are coming down. Yeah, they could come down more. But when you piece it all together of, okay, great. So now, and by the way, now you're, instead of locking in the rate, right? Rates come down. Instead of getting $50,000, $75,000 of equity and having all the next people use your property as leverage to grow, and when that comes around, you get the lower interest rate, but you're getting the lower interest rate on $80,000 higher. So when the interest rates come down, do you want them to drop your $4,200 a month payment to $3,800? Or do you want them to drop your $5,200 payment to $4,600? When you say the interest rates are going to come down, you still have to start from your benchmark. So if you're at $4,200 now and you buy and you pay $120 extra, $120 extra, $120 extra, in 6 months, that's $720. So do you want to buy at $410 and pay $720 extra and then drop it down to $3,800, $3,700, and save $400 or $500 a month? Or do you want to lose $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 in equity and drop your $4,700 a month payment to $4,200 a month in payment? Next question for you. When you get to that point, let's just say that goes through. When you now have lower interest rates, not only are you paying more money, not only are you taking your benchmark and dropping it down, meaning instead of having a house locked, instead of having $3,800 monthly payment, $70,000 of equity, and a lower interest rate and a better home. And the reason why I say better home is inventory is not going to go up a lot. So for example, I own a house right now. I have a 2.875% interest rate. Do you think there's any chance in hell, even though I'd love a fourth bedroom because my kids they're in the next couple of years, they need an extra bedroom. Do you think I'm going to go out and double my mortgage for an extra bedroom? Do you think I'm going to go spend $3,000 a month for 30 years so my kids don't have to share a bedroom?
No.
Hell no. Do you think anybody, even so, I can make $1,700 a month on this property in rental? Why would I ever sell this home? Builders aren't building. There is no more extra crazy inventory coming. The only people that are going to sell are the people that have to sell or that are moving out of state. So in 6 months, when the interest rates come on and demand skyrockets, forget it. Let's say it's the same price. Now you've got to compete against 25 people. Do you think you're going to be able to not overbid then? So guys, I just want you guys to know that based on where we're at right now, I'm really, really, really concerned about you because I know that money is important to you. I know it is. It's important to me. It's important to everybody. If you wait, you're going to face much higher competition, which means you're going to have to get a crappier house. And by the way, it also means if we find anything wrong with the house, you're not getting any credits. Why would they? There's 20 other people that want it behind you. You're going to have to give them a free month of rent to get in because they get to move whenever they want. You're going to be $70,000 poorer because instead of buying earlier, you're going to have equity. They're going to have equity in the house. You're going to be refinancing you're going to get a lower rate, but you're going to be starting from a higher bar. So you're going to be spending $500, $600, $700 a month more and not have equity. How hard is it to make a jump from 2,500 to 4,200, which will eventually be 3,800? Or is it harder to go to 4,800, 4,300, right? Like it's going to be harder.
Yeah, that makes a lot better sense. Just putting it kind of all there together like that.
Yeah, and so you just gotta and you gotta ask the questions and just ask the hard questions where it's like, well, so what do you do then? And by the way, you just threw away, but the key number is, hey guys, I just wanted to paint this picture. Like this is how I would start. Hey, I just want to paint this picture because here's what you don't want to do is you don't want to chase the market up. And what I mean by that is you start out at my max for this property is 386 and it sells for 406. Well, guess what the next one does? How many offers were on that one, by the way, Josh?
There was 10.
Great. So one person got the house. All right. So I'll role play this one with you, Josh. All right. So you didn't want to go past 386 because you said it wasn't worth it, correct?
Yes.
You said that it wasn't worth that. It was only worth 386, right?
That's what I said. Yep.
Okay. There were 10 people. And out of those 10 people, how many people get to move into that house?
Just one.
So there's 9 other buyers that need a house, including you, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And do we look for houses in 30 different places, or do we typically look for a house in a criteria like we are?
Just in the criteria we're looking in.
So those 9 buyers, it's fair to assume they want a house just like you right now, right?
Yeah.
Now that doesn't include the buyers that are waiting for a better interest rate. So let's be fair to assume that there's 9 other buyers. So the next house that comes out, those 9 buyers, they all missed out at 406. And by the way, that one closed at 406. So now everybody knows that house was actually worth 406. So your 386 was not accurate of value, was it?
No, it wasn't.
No. And that's okay. By the way, I'm not expecting, and by the way, I'm beating them up. So I'm going to do a little building up. I beat up and I build up. I beat up and I build up. So listen, I get it. Not everybody nails it the first time, but as of right now, hindsight's always 20/20, right? As of right now, we know that you were wrong about the assessment of what that property was worth, correct?
Yeah.
Great. Now there's 9 extra buyers. There's 5 extra buyers that are waiting for interest rates to drop, which they just did. So some of them are going to come back. So now we've got 9 extra buyers. The next property that comes out in the next 30 days, does that seller want more or less money, knowing that there's a lot of competition and their neighbor just had 10 offers?
Yeah, I guess they're going to want more money.
Well, why would they want less? Does anybody ever give anything away in real estate, or do they want every single penny?
They want every single penny.
They want the dollars.
The
dollars. So now you've got the next one that comes out, and they know for a fact it's worth at least 406. So then they list it at 410. Now these 9 people, they realize that I was willing to do 407. So for an extra $5 a month, I could have got that damn house and been in it, and now I would have had equity. So are they more or less motivated to buy the next house?
They might be less motivated, or
No,
I guess
no,
more.
they're more motivated because they realized for a friggin' cup of coffee a month, they could have had their house.
Yeah.
And by the way, they now could refinance and then they would be saving money. So now the buyers that lost out, they feel fear. They feel like, ooh, I really want it. Do you feel when somebody says they don't want you, typically we want them more, right? In dating, you don't really want somebody that really, really wants you. They're cool. I'm not sure I really want them. But as soon as they stop showing you attention, what's wrong with me? So now you got 9 buyers that's doing the what's wrong with me. Ooh, nobody wants me. And now they want the house and they're tired of losing. Do people like losing? No, we like winning. So when we lose, do we want to win more or less? We want to win more. So now, and the rates have come down. So by the way, they're 404 that missed out on the property. They can now offer 410 and it's the same price because interest rates came down. So they actually get round 2, no penalty. And now they know that they were wrong because that thing was worth 406, but now there's still 9 other buyers there.
They're going to be fighting with them on the other ones too.
Huh?
I said, and then then you'd be fighting with those other 9 buyers plus
Then
whoever
you're
else
back
is
fighting with the other 9 buyers again.
Okay.
But now everybody's got more money. Everybody's got more motivation. Everybody's got more desire. So that one sells for 415. Now, guess what? In 30 days, rates come down a little bit more. So everybody just got more money. And now that seller, do they want more or less because their neighbor just got 415?
They're definitely going to want more.
Now, there was 10 buyers that all want to buy, plus we got 3 more buyers that want to buy because interest rates came down, and now 2 people got to move in the houses, so 13 minus 2, there's 11 buyers. And and 8 of those buyers have lost now twice. But don't worry, the interest rates came down, so they still have the same amount of money. They're playing with house money at this point. It's $4,200 payment. Well, you're paying $415 from this. Well, the interest rates went down, so I'm still paying $4,200. Well, this one sold. Now I'm paying $425, but the interest rates came down, so I'm still paying $4,200.
Okay.
So everybody's playing with house money, but guess what you're missing out on? Equity. And guess what else you've done? You've thrown away $7,500 in rent the last 3 months for that. Guys, you are literally chasing the market up right now. Chasing the market up, tripping over a dollar to pick up a dime. I can tell you how this scenario plays out in the other side. I've got a buyer that, and you can just use our office. I've got a buyer that they just bought a house. They won. They paid $10,000 more than they wanted to. They didn't think the house was worth $396. They paid the $396. They got the $396. And guess what? 30 days later, they got $10,000 in equity. And by the way, all the 9 other buyers are looking at them going, shit, they got the money. And they're paying. Now it's going to be 20, 30, 40, 50. Now, I don't know what's going to happen in November and December of this year. So you either get in now and win right now and get a buffer, because what I call it I call it equity insurance. And what I mean by equity insurance is, I don't know if the market's going to drop another 10 or 15% at the end of the year, but what I do know is that if I get 10 or 15% of equity now, and then it drops 10 or 15% in equity, have I lost money?
No, no, I guess I'd be sitting right at the same worst case scenario.
And I still got the tax benefits, and I still was paying down my mortgage, and I still had a home, and I still was great. But we are in an inflationary period. The banks failing, we're going to get monetary easing. We're going to get different governments are already coming out. Don't worry, we're going to shore this, we're going to shore that. Where are they going to get the money from? They're going to print it. When they print it, what happens? Inflation goes up. When inflation goes up, what happens? Real estate market goes up. And what do they got to do to save everybody? They got to drop rates. The same thing that is going to happen, that happened in 2021 and 2022 is likely, history repeats itself. The same thing is happening now. Economic turmoil, monetary easing, printing money, inflation, drop the rates. So that's where you have to get into the client and you have to walk them through that process of, listen, we're going to go on an adventure today. And you start with that home. It was $386. I've been playing Monopoly a lot. All properties, $400. That property, you said it was worth $386,000. It closed for $406. It had 10 offers. At this point, we know we were wrong of the value of that condo. Now, that might not have been the condo for you. I'm not saying that was the condo for you, but at this point, you said you only felt like it was worth $386, and we know it closed for $406. So we know from a value perspective that was wrong, correct?
Yes.
And just so you know, I talked to the lender, that $20,000 of financing, if you would have bought that at $406, you would have only been paying $120 a month more than in your final offer of $386. It was only $120. Might have only been $115. I don't know. So that's the number I want you to hold on to, because this whole analogy is going to go back to $120 a month, which, by the way, the rates have already dropped since then. And so that $120 a month, we already know that at some point you're going to refi and that's going to be gone. So it's just a temporary pain. Are you with me?
Yes.
Great. There's not, how many people got to move in the house? That's the train, right? And you start going through and you start saying, okay, great. So the next one, the seller, do they want more or less? Like, you do that whole walkthrough and you get to the end and you cap it off with, guys, I do not want you to chase the market up. You have 9 buyers that are still hunting around. And by the way, every time the rates come in, 1 or 2 more buyers come back to the table. And by the way, every time the prices jump, 1 or 2 buyers come back to the table, because that buyer goes to work and is like, dude, I got 20K in equity. I've only owned the home for 45 days. The interest rates are high. Depends on who you talk to. Because if you're a condo buyer, if you're one of those 9 condo buyers, and you're buying this home and it's your first home and mommy and daddy have 2 or 3 properties and you talk to mommy and daddy about how bad the rates are, mommy and daddy are going to go, our first home was 7%. Our second home was 14%. Got to buy a house.
Yeah.
So let's do the right thing. Let's stay now once I've done all that and I go, so do you see why I'm telling you that waiting is a bad idea right now from where we stand?
That's such a better perspective. Yeah. I mean, that makes much more sense than what we've been talking about.
Stick in, turn, paint the picture of not just, well, yeah, you could always refi, but just paint that friggin' picture of like, look, let's go through the process of doing it your way. And then that one sells. And then when that one has 9 offers in on it and you look at it, you're like, well, that one was only 406. I'm only going to pay 410, but it sells for 412, which is only $8 a month. So then you miss out on that one. So then the next one comes out and that one's 420 and you're like, it's only worth 415 because that last one sold for 415 and then they get 428, but you only bid 426. And by the way, you just throw a 2,500 away, you throw another 2,500 away, you throw another 2,500 away, you're missing out on equity. So not only are you throwing 2,500 away, you're losing 5, 7, 8 grand a month in equity. And you're losing tax benefits. And you're losing stability and they might raise the rent on you. There's all kinds of dirty stuff that can go on.
That's a much better narrative, Josh. I'm taking lots of notes right now.
Like, look, this is one of those things where you caveat it, say, look, I'm not an economist. I'm not a mortgage forecaster. But what I can tell you is what's happening today is very, very similar to 2020, 2021, 2022. The key number that's driving this is that we have 1/10 of the inventory than we did in the crash. Okay. And I do this. Remember, I'm on the keyboard. Okay. And look, you can see the trend, right? Prices are coming up. This is for the county, right? And you go here. Okay. And this is where I started, before I even get to that. Okay. Active listings. Okay. Here's the crash, 27,000 active listings. Here is a boom in pricing, January 22. Here is a boom in pricing, January 21, right? Here is a boom in pricing, right? April, May, boom in pricing. So you say, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer, what do you notice about the boom and inventory? It's right after the low point. Where are we at right now?
We're at a low point.
We're at a low point. Now, that's active listings. And by the way, that doesn't include pendings. Okay, pendings. Okay, where are pendings going right now?
They're increasing. They're going up, which means inventory is...
New listings. Only 2,000 homes came to the market, and I can even do twin home attached. 700 condos in the entire county came to market last month. Okay. Right now, there's only 700 available. Pendings. 688 went pending last month, and 702 came to the market. What does that tell you? Everything is selling. Well, I'm seeing a lot of price reductions. Yeah, you know why? Because some sellers are ignorant and naive or work with agents that don't show them the data. Sales price. What do you see in sales price of condos?
It's going up again. There it goes.
Guys, I love you to death. And I'll be very direct with you. I don't need you to buy a home in order to eat. I don't need you to buy. I have 3 or 4 deals going on, but we've put in a lot of work. You told me you want to build equity. You told me, and now what you're having trouble with, you told me that you don't want to throw money away on rent. You told me that you want stability. You told me that you want the best price on a house. What you're having a challenge with is you've been going from a discounted housing price to building wealth and investing in your future. And that gap is about $1,500 to $1,700 a month. Let me tell you a story. Okay. And you can use this, your story, but I personally went through this when I bought this house. I bought 3 homes so far in my life. The first one was $239,000 in Ohio. That one was easy for me because the 15-year mortgage for me was $2,100 a month, and I was paying $1,600 a month in rent, and that's when the taxes still work. So it was actually cheaper for me to buy than it was to rent because I was coming from San Diego to Ohio, and so it was actually cheaper for me to buy than it was to rent after the tax benefits. That one was easy. Then I bought a house for $301,000 in South Carolina, and my 30-year mortgage was only $1,700 a month, which was less than $2,100 a month because I turned that one into a rental. And so that one was easy for me to buy because it was now I was only paying like $1,200 a month for housing, and I had been paying $1,600 for a condo that I was renting in San Diego. So that one was easy. When I moved here and I bought this house, I rented this house first, and my monthly rent was $2,600. Okay. And this is what they're struggling with. And I can tell you personally, it's real. I was paying $2,600 a month in rent. There aren't the same tax benefits that they were back in the day. They still apply to me, and they still apply to all of us because we're realtors and we write off stuff. But the mortgage of my house before I refinanced was $3,300. So I was looking at the $700 jump in my monthly expenses, and that scared me because it was the biggest financial jump in commitment that I had done in a long time. It wasn't like I bought a new car and it was $200 more a month. It was a $700 a month jump. Okay. And I had mentors around me like Brian Kane. I had mentors around me like Ryan Finch. They were like, dude, buy the house. You're getting a good price on it. Buy the house. Okay. Then I got the benefit of refinancing, and now I'm down to like $2,950 for my mortgage. But here's what happens, and you need to paint this picture for him too. For the last 18 months, could you have afforded $4,200 a month?
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what I want you to do moving forward. Write this down, Josh. This is a gem.
Okay.
I want you to take you're paying $2,500 a month. We're talking about $1,700 a month jump. I want you to take that $1,700 and I want you to pretend you're writing the check for it. So every month when you get paid, you take $1,700 and you put it into another account. And and you're not allowed to touch it. You're going to pretend it vanishes.
Okay.
And you will find out within 3 months, it's not the money. It's the idea that's scaring you. And that idea is costing you fear. And that fear is about to cost you a lot of money. So you have to decide whether you want to look at the numbers and look at what you're experiencing and move forward to get the best price, or you're going to retreat and you're going to miss out on everything you want. Because if you don't focus on getting into a property now on the it's not worth it game, we're seeing that it's worth it. You've already missed out on $10,000 in equity, and you've already thrown away an additional $5,000, and you did it to save $120 a month for 6 months. And by the way, the interest rate's already low enough to where it would have probably wiped that out for you. You guys it's not about you buying now. It's about you guys are on the wrong path, and I want to get us back on the path. Let's stay focused. Let's stay focused, and let's go after the next property. Because when we get to the next property, I just want you to keep this as an idea that we don't want to chase the market up. Just stay focused, stay looking at the properties. And when we find the right one that you want to make an offer on, remember this conversation. I'm not saying you got to buy tomorrow. I'm just planting this seed because I promise you this conversation is going to be relevant in 30 days when we find the right home. Fair enough?
Yes.
You see how I cap that out with heart feeling and no pressure and like, look, I just want to prep you that the next offer, this is the conversation. And then the next time, Josh, when you get in there, you get that number a little faster. So like, for example, if you know you're losing and it's like, cool, they got 10 offers, we're at 386, and then you know, they're like that, you know, 400 or whatnot. If you need them to go to 415, 420 to get the deal done, you call the lender before you present to the client and you say, hey, if they need to go to 425, what's that payment? And then you do the math of, hey guys, in order to win this one, I think you need to be at 425, maybe 427. And just so you know you said you only want to go to 410, but that's $17,000, which by the way, would have been equity, because the previous one, you instead of you having to pay more, you would be earning more right now, just so you know. It's about $100 a month extra. So you're not deciding on whether or not the property is worth it. It's worth it. The 9 other buyers are going to suck it up. It's worth it. So the question on whether or not is it worth it for you, that's a different question. But let's not talk about what your max offer, like you just got to figure out if it's worth it. Because if it's worth it for you, then you buy it at the 427, you pay the extra 100 a month, and you do exactly what we talked about, so you don't chase the market up.
Okay.
That's the message for every single buyer, whether they're waiting because they don't think it's worth it, they're waiting for that. That's the game right now. And just rinse and repeat it. Start with a lot of questions. Don't tell them, show them.
Thank you, Josh.
You're welcome, man. You're welcome. You can do that easily. I know you can. But
Oh yeah, good.
you just gotta get the knife in, turn it, and then tell them, don't worry, I'm a surgeon. I'm gonna sew it up. I knew where I was stabbing you. It's not any organs. It looks ugly, but we're gonna patch it up. It'll be fine. I purposely stabbed you where it's pretty much just a little bit of a flesh wound. It'll be fine. And it's a good thing you're with me, because I know how to be a surgeon. All right, guys, I got to prep for some stuff. Anybody have any questions, any comments? Anybody need anything?
No, thank you. Appreciate that. It was good.
All right, guys, I will see you
Thanks,
tomorrow.
All right. Bye.
Proud of
Bye.
all you guys. Great job on the sales, man. Keep it going.
Sir.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Bye.
Bye.